It is raining in LA, like cats and dogs. It's raining. A rainy night in LA. I feel like it rained all over the world. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad you guys showed up in the rain. That's cool. Do you know the theme of this year?
I do.
And what is it?
Do not let the left hand know what the right is doing.
And so have you been doing that?
I have.
And how's that going?
I think I'm starting to see more how much of a control freak I was and how much better life is when you just let things happen.
Yeah.
And I thought like, oh, I was good, you know, I got this, I got that. And I really didn't notice that I kind of bully some of my friends. You know, I'm like, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Right.
And it doesn't help them.
That's right.
So when I was just thinking, don't keep your eye on the prize, all love all the time, I don't think about what I'm going to say. And what I say is much better. And they feel like a friend is talking to them.
Yeah.
And it does help them. And just overall, I'm in a different place than I thought I would be. And it's awesome. You know, I really like it. It's new. And
don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that term in a long time.
And when you heard it, what did it mean to you?
Couldn't tell you right now.
Oh, okay. So I just want to ask this, just to get it off your chest, is we're not allowed to promote a candidate or anything, so we're not promoting. But as you all know, Donald Trump was sworn in over the weekend, well, this past Friday, the 20th. And what did you think about that?
I thought it was in a way not surprising, but also it was very surprising.
Yeah. And why was it surprising?
Because if you watch the news, almost everybody hated him. Almost everybody did not support him. At least that's what you would gather by watching the news.
Yeah. And so now that he's in there, what does that mean for you?
Change your leadership.
Are you happy he's there?
I would say I'm happy.
Yeah. How about you?
You know, at first somebody told me, "Oh, have you heard what he said about Mexicans?" When they say, I say, "No, that's not what he said," because we know what the media was trying to do, trying to say that, oh, he hates them. And when you have all this protest and the media attacking him, you can tell that he's doing something that's, you know, really different. And I always say, when they get so offended, it means you hit them where it hurts. You show them truth. Yeah. And
so they tried to convince us that he hate the blacks, he hate the Mexicans, he hate the women.
Before that, I didn't really think of him. I just know him as, being the billionaire and the host of The Apprentice and all that stuff. That's all I know him for.
Right.
And then when he ran for president, it just all of a sudden just came out of nowhere.
I know, that's amazing, huh?
It is, yeah.
That is like mind-blowing.
Totally.
Out of nowhere. I wonder what that's like to grow up in life, you become a builder, and then at some point you become the president of the United States. You've never been a politician, and just out of nowhere this happened for you. What did you think of it, G, on Friday?
I thought it was...
Did you watch the inauguration?
Yeah, a little bit. I thought it was cool. I think he got the best-looking wife on the country.
This guy called my radio show, and he was like, "Oh, Donald Trump's wife is so beautiful." Oh, I'm like, calm down, man. And he has a wife. Take it easy.
And besides that, I just like to watch the liberals cry and suffer in pain.
Did you watch the ceremony?
Yeah.
And what was it like for you watching it?
He had like some sort of energy, like a good energy.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy that the liberals are in pain.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. More than Donald Trump being president.
Right. Why are you happy that they're in pain?
Because they try to shut us up and they try to get their way every time, and they were having their way. Yeah. I'm just glad they're not going to have their way anymore.
Yeah.
And whatever they say, they can say, "Oh, he said this about Mexicans, he said that, he said that." He's still the president, so deal with it.
Mary, what did you think about it? Are you surprised Donald Trump is president?
No.
You're not surprised?
No.
And why not?
Because he's a just person.
He's just.
Yeah, he's a just person. He sees that our country needs to go back to the people.
Right. You know, I just, you know, I've watched this guy since he announced that he was going to run, and he was so outspoken. And we have not had that in a long time in this country. Men don't speak up. I guess there are more good women speaking up than even men are today. And so as a result, the country has just been going to hell in a handbasket, because whenever you have fear, you lose out. And so I'm just amazed that a man like Donald Trump became president, because he's so outspoken, he speaks his mind, he's so independent. And it is, you know, what the country needs. We need to bring the country back, because the country is a battle between good and evil. There was a rally yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, the women rally, the feminist women rally, and they had them in New York, Washington, D.C. and L.A. and I guess some other countries or something. And I'm listening to some of it, and these women, they are an example of good versus evil. They were just complaining about not being able to, they were afraid that at some point they cannot promote evil anymore. They want abortion to continue. You know, Trayvon Martin's mother, Michael Brown's mother, and some other mothers who have failed their children, and their kids were killed by cops. And instead of telling the country, we failed our children, don't do what we did, here's what their life's going to turn out, they're calling it racism, the cop is racist. So they were there yesterday fighting for whatever they want, the right to be mothers of thoughts. They also had the homosexuals there crying racist, calling, I guess, Trump racist. And they were saying he hate women, he hate men, he hate the blacks, he hate all this good stuff. And I'm thinking, these people are not standing for anything that's good. They're nothing good. They were not promoting good at all. And this is put out there for the whole world to see. There was nothing good about them. They were just angry, men-hating, godless feminists. And they have been in charge of our country for so long. The idea that a man is in there now, it put fear in them. So watching this, I'm thinking, wow, this is so interesting. This is so good, because it shows the difference between good and evil. And these people have been representing evil for the last 50 years or so. So it's going to be interesting to see the change. You went down to L.A. to one of those rallies, right? And what was it like for you?
More education, less incarceration, Black Lives Matter, pretty much all those left-wing rhetorics that they've been
Were
doing.
Black Lives Matter there too?
Oh, I don't see them.
There were people chanting Black Lives Matter.
Yes, sir.
Were there mostly women or men?
I see mostly ladies there, and I think most of these ladies that march, I don't think they're married. Most of them are divorced.
Yeah. Those women, they hate men. Yes. And they're never going to get a husband.
Yes, that's
and
true.
The problem is, that's why they're out there, because of their hatred of their fathers and the hatred of men.
Yes, spot on. Because
if they had good fathers and good men, there's no way they would be out there promoting those kind of things.
That's true, yeah.
It's amazing how much men have failed women. You know, they let them down. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, terrible.
Were you raised by your father and mother?
Yes, sir. I mean, actually, I spend most of my time with both my parents because, you know, I'm still living with them right now for financial reasons, yeah.
Right.
Both of them still together after 30 years.
That's good.
Yeah.
And who are you closest to?
Both, I could say. I'd say more close to my father in terms of, I guess, manly advice.
That's good.
And my mom, you know, to talk to.
Right.
You know. But both equally, you know.
Yeah, we got to get back to that, where fathers and mothers are together, raising their children, and not turning them over to the government or anyone else. Mm-hmm. We really have to return to that.
That's true.
And it's so far gone that it's absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. I have never seen so many weak men in all my life.
I know.
They don't even know how to think like a man or be a man. And if they run into you and you are a man, they would attack you for being a man.
That's true.
Because they have that nature where they hate men too.
And they can use that to throw you in jail too.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? So maybe we should hold a 1,000,000-man rally like they did around the world. What was your impression down there?
Being there, first of all, we were reluctant to be there. We didn't have plans of being there. Being in gridlock traffic, we decided to park and check it out. But it was just a cesspool of terrible behavior.
Yeah.
Although it was not violent, it was just a prime example of what you don't want your daughter, your sister, even mother to be. There were just a bunch of, it was more like it wasn't a riot, but it was an unorganized mob, just of terrible behavior.
Yeah. I should have gone down there now. I'm sorry I didn't. This sounds like fun, huh? Did you guys talk to anyone there and just listen to the speeches and stuff?
We people watched.
Oh, okay.
It was a fun way to kill 2 hours.
That's how long it lasted?
We were there for 2 hours. It began like early in the morning, and we were just there for a couple hours.
That's amazing. That's good. Well, we're going to see what happened in the next 4 years. I was looking at the media, CNN yesterday, and they were going off on Donald Trump. I mean, they had like 8 people on so-called experts, and only one woman stood up for Donald Trump. The rest of them were going after him. According to them, he's the worst person on earth, worst human being. So we're going to see what happens as time moves forward. Anybody else? Yes.
I would say that this movement, this feminist movement, is a byproduct of maybe within the past 50 years of, like you said, men not being men, men not raising their families and all that. Would you agree with that?
100%. 100%. And see, what it is, men are Christ on earth. They represent Christ on earth. The good come from men because of there's a spiritual order of God and Christ, Christ and man, man over woman, and woman over children. And when you remove that man from the family, then Satan can come in and take over the women and children, and you end up with this kind of mess. But as long as that man is there, he's a good man, he loves what's right with all his heart, soul, and might, then the Satan can't come in and take over the women and children. Absolutely right. And that's why they're attacking men generation after generation, because they want to defeat them, because evil understands your role on earth. It understands your role with the family, and it's trying to keep men from doing that. Absolutely, man. You can't take over the women and children if the man is there, unless he's a weak man. You know, he's been traumatized or something. But men gotta start returning. And I think that Donald Trump is a good example of what a man should be. You know, outspoken, not afraid, independent, you know, standing up for what is right. And when attacked by evil, attack back. Don't cower down. Don't worry about what they call you. They can call you any kind of name they want, because evil really doesn't have any power if it cannot intimidate you. If it can't put fear in you, it has no power at all. That's why those women, those liberal women that were marching yesterday, they were just name calling. You hate women, you hate the blacks, you hate the gays, you hate this and that. And if you fall for that, they get power. If you don't, they have none. And that's why even during the primaries, they were having a hissy fit, because they saw that this man has no fear. And so how are we going to intimidate him? How are we going to get control over him if he has no fear? So you got to get past fear. God is not happy with folks with fear, because people with fear lack faith in God. And without faith, you can't please God. So, absolutely. Are you dating?
I have a girlfriend, yes.
And how's that going?
Pretty well. We've been going out for about a year. I would say very steady.
Does she control you?
No, she always said she saw herself as an independent woman, but she admitted in this relationship she sees myself more as the one wearing the pants.
Oh, okay. That's good. And so, how is it that she's not able to control you? What is it about you that will not allow her to control you?
She said compared to her previous boyfriends, I had a pretty good structure growing up.
Yeah.
And I guess she said, I'm very ambitious and I know what I want. I'm very level-headed. So with that, I'm able to, same time kind of be more in control without controlling,
Right on. Well, make sure you stay away from sex until you get married.
Yes, sir.
And then that way she cannot get control. All right? That make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good, man. Yes, G.
You said one of these weekends you should date for like 7 years before getting married?
Right.
So you got to, that's like a long time.
7 years is a long time?
Yeah.
Why?
It's a long time.
Why is 7 years a long time?
I don't know. It just seemed like so long, and then you got to be dating and just kind of hanging out.
Right.
No
Instead
intimacy.
of what?
Intimacy?
What?
Like sex?
Oh, so you're saying 7 years is a long time to be dating without sex?
Or just dating, period, without getting married.
Why is that? Because you get to know each other then.
That's a long, long time.
No, it'll go by fast. It really will.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think people should really date for about 5 to 7 years?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Give it a try and see what happens. Time went by just like that. It's only the mind that it seemed like a long time. Are you doing the right hand, keeping the left hand from knowing what the right hand is doing?
Well, at times I think I am, but probably not.
And why do you say that?
I just have a habit, it seems like unbreakable, of believing the left hand from time to time. It's just like so much a part of me.
And you find yourself believing from time to time?
Yeah.
And that means what to you?
Well, it can happen at critical times, too, and that's the dangerous part. It's not just believing a thought like, should I watch this TV now or not watch it? It can be a more important decisions, and that's what's a little bit scary about that, is I can believe it at the worst times.
Should I watch TV or not watch TV?
Yeah, I'm just giving that as an example of a small, decision.
And so sometimes the left hand convinces you that you should watch TV and you really don't want to?
Well, no, I do want to, but I see it's not the right time to do it, we'll say, but I still want to, and that want seems to be stronger than the good common sense of not doing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mark going to tell you in a minute what you're doing wrong. There's something that you're doing wrong, and it's clear to Mark and I what that is.
Very good. That's why I come here.
How about you? How's it going for you, the left hand and the right hand thing?
It's going pretty good.
And tell me how.
In that I'm able to really pay attention to really how much I'm in my head. It's kind of allowed me to see that really clearly.
Right. What does it mean not to let the left hand know what the right hand is doing? I know you haven't been here a lot, but do you know what it means at this point?
I believe so.
Okay.
It means, to some degree at least, not to believe in your thoughts. And even if you did believe in your thought and you went with that thought, just kind of realize it and snap out of it.
Oh, let me put it this way. How does one prevent the left hand from knowing what the right hand is doing?
I would say stay away from your thoughts, because your mind is constantly like going, oh, look at that. Oh, that's dumb. Oh, my mind is constantly doing all that type of stuff. And the more I become aware of that, that is me. That's not letting my left hand know what my right hand's doing. The more I'm aware of those type of things, and even if I say it, I have to realize that even if I hear myself say it, because it's not really me saying it.
Right.
Even if I hear myself say it, I have to realize that that's not me. but it's so easy to, probably another thing I learned is so easy to identify with it because it sounds just like me.
Right.
And it's so easy, because I identify with it so much, it's so easy to go with it.
Okay.
So,
how does one prevent the left hand from knowing? And the reason I'm asking, because if you don't understand how to prevent it, you're not going to get it. How does one prevent the left hand from knowing what the right hand is doing?
Well, I'm probably not the one to ask, since I've just indicated that I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, besides just, thinking that I'm letting it go by when it's, not always the case. Sometimes I don't even know if I've let it go by or not. It just comes out later, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I didn't really do well with that thought.
Are you still trying to understand the things of God intellectually?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay. That's a problem.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Marilyn, do you know how to prevent the left hand from knowing what the right hand is doing? There's a way to prevent it.
Well, the way I do it is I just let go of all my thoughts. Like, I don't live in my thoughts. I just be in the moment, Like when something will tell me, oh, go do this, I don't go do it right away. I just let it go and go do what I was supposed to do.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, that's how I do it. But I had a question
for you. It's even easier than that.
Yeah, I had a question for you.
Okay.
Last week you said something about the sin of the parent fall upon the child.
Yes.
But I read in the Bible that the sin of the parent does not fall upon the child. Like, we bear our own sins. Now, is there a difference between a sin and a curse?
A sin and a curse. A sin and a curse. Well, I don't know if there's a difference. I have to think about that, because if you are sinning, you are living a cursed life. Because all who sin are living in hell, and they lack love and even the ability to love.
Well, do you believe that someone can...
But the sins of the fathers are passed on from generation to generation, for sure.
But the Bible doesn't say that.
It does say the sins of the fathers are passed on from generation to generation.
Where at? I read it over and over, and
Where did she find that,
It doesn't say
get it for you.
that. It says we bear our own sins.
It says both, actually. Yeah.
Well, what happens is you're born into a sinful family, and you become like them. And then once you become like them, that's when you start taking on your own as you get older.
So you don't believe that a family can be cursed? Like where I'm from, they do a lot of witchcraft, voodoo, all that stuff. And I think my great grandfather was really into that from my dad's side.
And so you think he may have cursed the whole family by being into witchcraft?
I think so.
I'm sure, a family can be cursed. But I don't know if there's a difference between the sin and being cursed, because the sin is a curse. When you really know what the sin is. Yes, Mark?
I think the word cursed implies there's nothing you can do about it. That's why typically I don't like that word.
Yeah.
Because just believe in God, and that's going to beat your curse. That's going to beat anything.
I'm going to have to look into it. That's a really good question. I don't know if there's a difference between sin and curse. I mean, to me, they seem both to have the same effect in that they separate you from God, and then life becomes very destructive for you. Unless a curse is something that you cannot overcome. That might be a difference, but I don't know. That's a good question. But the sins of the fathers are passed down from generation to generation until one generation overcome it and start a new generation. Why do you think most people are just like their parents? They weren't born just like their parents. How did they become? They lose themselves, and they become like their parents and repeat the same cycle that their parents repeated. You don't think so?
No.
And what's different between you and your mother?
I'm very forgiving. My mom is not.
But prior to understanding how to forgive, were you forgiven?
Yes,
You
I
were?
was. Hmm.
But do you still have anger?
No, I think, no, not really. I don't.
Do you have it or not?
No.
You have no anger.
Nope.
But prior to overcoming the anger, you had anger, right?
Yes, I did.
But if you had anger, then you were just like your mother. Because that's why I said some generation, it has to stop by repenting and overcoming. But if you had any iota of anger, you're just like your mother. And an angry person cannot forgive in that state of anger. Now, some people are more dramatic than others. You know, you might feel like you can argue about it and let it go, but as long as you had an anger, you're still not a forgiving person. What do you think about that?
I don't think I'm like my mom.
In what
or
way?
my dad.
In what way?
Because, I mean, like my mom, she complains a lot about silly things. She goes to a party, she'll complain about the food. She'll complain about the music, you know, and she'll wake up in the morning. When I used to live with her, she'll wake up in the morning complaining about just anything.
And were you a complainer at one time?
No.
You've never been a complainer?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good, but you still had that same spirit if you had that anger. Now, maybe if you've overcome that anger, then it's changed.
I mean, the only thing I pick up from my dad is drinking.
Drinking?
Yeah, and that started when I was 30, but other than before then, I never took a drink, but, you know.
Is it hard to stop drinking?
I go off and on, and it is hard.
What do you drink?
Just beer and wine.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so you got that from your father. Why, if you have no anger, why can't you overcome that?
I overcome it, like I'll get sober for 4 months, and then I'll go back. And
For
I don't
4
know.
months?
Yeah, 4 or 5 months, a year.
Yeah.
Then I'll just go back to it. Maybe I'll make an excuse, like the holidays coming, so I need to have a drink.
Yeah, that's right. I know what you mean. Nah. Well, I'm going to show you how to really let that go completely.
Okay.
All right? Did I see your hand?
The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The Son shall not bear the iniquity of the Father, neither shall the Father bear the iniquity of the Son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him.
Okay. I didn't get that.
Well, it's saying to me that the soul that sinneth shall die. So if my father dies from his iniquity, doesn't mean that's passed on to me. I can overcome that through, seeking God. And so the iniquity.
Well, we can overcome, that's for sure.
Yeah, we can overcome.
Yeah.
So the righteousness. So once I become righteous, then my righteousness is my righteousness. I can't really pass it on. Everybody has to come into their own.
But if you are of good, and if you got married and had kids, you will pass that on to them.
Oh, I know.
But if you're of evil, you're going to pass that on to them.
Exactly.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. I went through that cycle. I mean, my kids all got that because as growing up, you say to yourself, "Oh, I would never do this to my kids." And guess what?
Yeah.
When you get kids, you do that to them,
and you can't help it
because you can't help it
because that's what's in your nature.
Exactly.
Your father Satan is evil. And if you have anger, you're of your father, the devil. So how are you going to pass on love if you have no love?
Don't have it, right.
There is no love in anger.
Exactly.
Right, so you're going to, even though you say, I would never do to my kids what, I know parents who have said that.
Yes,
I just thought of some parents right now. I'm dealing with some fathers right now who are raising their children like an angry woman.
Yeah.
They really are. They don't want to, but they're spoiling their kids. They're being nice to the kids like a mother would be nice. Their kids are not tough at all, just soft and worth nothing. And I can see these fathers wanting to do better, but it's not in their nature.
Right.
It's not in their nature to be a father with their son.
Right. Because what happens is that
and they want to.
They remember what their parent did to them.
It's not even that they remember.
No,
it's just in the nature.
It's in the nature. So if it's in the nature, they could take. I know. For instance, I know they could take that out on the kid, but rather than do that, they just let the kid go. They just let the kid go, and that's just as bad.
They reward their kids, and the kids haven't done anything to deserve a reward.
Yeah.
It's the darndest thing I ever seen.
Yeah, so it's So I mean, I know that very, very
I remember
well from
growing
experience.
up, if I didn't work, if I didn't clean the house or do something to bring the wood in, and let's say I didn't do any work, but I wanted to go to a dance, or I wanted to go, there would be no way I would be able to go. They would be like, if you want to go, then do your work. And it would be hurting so bad that because now I can't do the work. The parties happened today, right? And so, but they made me suffer through it. They didn't reward me if I didn't earn it. The same way God doesn't reward us just to spoil us. And men used to know these things. They don't know how to be men. They absolutely just don't know. And that's why we're here to help. Yes, Marilyn.
Going back to raising your kids, like my mom used to beat the crap out of me and my brothers and sisters. And when I had my daughter and she was like teenager grown up, I mean, even when she was little, I always said, I will never hit my daughter. I would never be mean to her, cruel to her. That was a choice I made because of what my mom did to me.
Right.
But my sister, she beat the crap out of her son, like for any little thing. So I think that's a choice. Just because your parents did it don't mean you're going to do it. You can make a choice not to do it.
Right, but what happens is you end up corrupting them in another way, which is still the same spirit. So, like your sister, it sounded like she became just like the mama and started just beating. You said, I'm never going to do it, but you still corrupt your kids in another way. You may you may spoil them, or you may underdo it or overdo it. Or maybe there is a time they need spanking. But because you have said, I'm never going to do it, then you don't spank them and they still end up messed up. And so that's why, but Satan, you didn't make that choice. The anger that you had toward your mother for being so violent with the kids, that anger, which is the nature of your father, the devil, made that choice for you, and you thought you were making that choice. We don't make choices. We are influenced. Whomever is driving us from within, they make the choices for us and make us believe we're making the choice. Or at least Satan does. So you didn't make that choice on your own. Isn't it nice to know that? We don't make choices. We do not make choices. But the deceiver, remember Satan said, I'm going to be God. Everything God does, I'm going to imitate it. I'm going to be God. I'm going to influence in the same way that he does. And because you don't know God anymore, you don't remember him, I'm going to deceive you and pretend that when you hear my voice, you're going to think it's God's voice. It sounds like you, but you think it's your voice. He's deceiving you. And that's why, every 4 months, he's like, you know what? You did very well the last 4 months. Why not just take a little small drink? A little mini glass. And then you take that little mini glass, and it's so good. And then you tell yourself, and Satan says, that was so good. You can just get one more. And you hear this in your head, it sounds like you. It was so good, get one more glass. And by 8 o'clock at night, you're drunk. Because you didn't recognize the devil's voice. You thought it was your voice. Because he can come in any form you need him to come. That's why I gotta tell you exactly how not to let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. And I'm telling you, when you do it this way, he cannot deceive you. But he is the great deceiver. And he's telling you, you made that choice. You said, I'm not going to ever beat my kids the way, my mother did. And so you believe that, and it still didn't work out well. And that's what a lot of parents do. I'm going to give my kids more than what I had growing up. I'm going to make my children's life better than my life, and they end up corrupting the children. And now they're adults, they still at home, they can't work, they can't do for themselves or anything. They don't want to work. They're out at the rally like yesterday, blaming the rich people. The dumbest thing I heard from the rally is that we now have wealthy people running the government. Do you want a poor person running the government? A person that don't know how to make money? Right. That doesn't even make sense to me. Why wouldn't you want the wealthy running the government? We want poor. Have you ever had a poor friend? Anybody ever had a friend that didn't have money? A headache, huh? Oh my God. Begging, and if you go out and you want to have a nice drink, you got to buy them one, so now you got to get a cheaper drink. Oh, it's amazing. Yes, Raymond.
Personally, I don't see where that it doesn't matter where sin comes from you or for a legacy of your family. To me, sin will always be sin as long as we subject ourselves to it.
And are you doing that?
Yes, I am subjecting myself to sin.
Why?
Because as I search, I realize of the myriad amount of stupid mistakes I made in my life.
All right.
And I fear if I was a better person, I wouldn't make those mistakes.
Okay, well, just suffer then until you become a better person. All right. Can you tell them how to prevent the left hand from knowing what the right hand is doing? Mark.
Identify the spirit.
Identify the spirit. How do you do that?
Right now, I can tell you are thinking about what's right. If you don't see the truth, you have no chance, because you will be feminine, you will be liberal, and you won't be a man, and you won't find God.
Yeah. I'm going to make it even easier than that. Easier than that. This is so good. James want to give it a try, and G want to give it a try. How do you prevent the left hand from knowing what the right hand is doing? We talked about this last week.
Oh, you talked about it last week?
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it
a lot lately.
Month or two. Well, I know that you said, so I repeat what you said?
Whatever it takes right now.
Okay. This is my best shot. You don't hold on to anything at all.
Yes. Self-knowledge. You wanted to say that. Give it to G.
I was going to say self-knowledge.
That's right. And what is self-knowledge?
A state of non-judgmental attention.
A state of non-judgmental attention will prevent the left hand from knowing what the right hand is doing, because you would never have an opinion about anything. You would never judge anything. You would never hold on to information. And when you're not holding on to anything, the left hand can't deceive you with anything. Your glass is empty, and God is just guiding you and filling your glass and emptying it and filling because you're not holding on, and Satan can't play a game against you. And then you become, as a child, unto your Creator. As a child should be unto his Father. You trust the Father. It's so interesting living that way, too. Without any judgment, without any opinion, and you start you'll see the craziness in people, but you will have no judgmental decision about it at all. It's so amazing to see that. A state of non-judgmental attention. You just have to see what's going on. You be the observer, because it's the light of God just shining on his son to allow his son or daughter to see what's going on. That's all you need. But unless you become aware of self in the right way, self-knowledge is not looking at yourself and saying, oh, I'm an awful person, or I'm a good person, or I'm a righteous person, or I'm not. You can't even have an opinion about anything. And believe me, the deceiver is always trying to give you an opinion to make a judgment. Always. And if you're not observing yourself without an opinion, he's going to deceive you. Look how bad you are. Or look how bad. I had a young lady call into my show on Friday, and she said, I don't want anything to do with black people now. I see how, you heard that call? I see how bad they are. and she's black. And now I can't stand them, that kind of stuff, right? And I said, well, you're judging them. She said, well, I know I'm judging them. So it's so crazy. How can you be judging someone and now you can't stand them? You're no different than the ones you're judging. You know? There's no love in judgment. And so we can't have an opinion about anything. I'm telling you, you have to be able to see without an opinion. And Satan is going to get busy. The left hand is busy trying to make you have an opinion. It's so weird. Yes, G.
No, I was just going to say, when you ask, how are you, how do you do it? And I would try to think, but I don't know how I'm doing it, but I just do what I do when I'm doing it,
That's right. It's like you're just watching from within. And you're watching that voice trying to seduce you. You're watching things around you that's trying to seduce you. You're just watching. And so if you want to overcome drugs, alcohol, sex, lying, video games, or what all, become aware, self-aware without an opinion. And so if you do drink or if you do something, it's impossible to have an opinion about it, and that desire will fade away. Because you're not judging it. You're not judging yourself. But if you drink or sex up or do what, and then now you're like all mad at yourself, I can't believe I'm doing it, I'm doing this, and think that that's self-knowledge, it's not. You're going to be right back into it heavier than it was when you wanted to stop. A state of non-judgmental attention. That makes sense? No? Do you know how to do that? Let me tell you this. I was thinking this morning, because of some of those things that those women were saying down there, it occurred to me, you know how a transgender person could be, I guess, a man or a woman, but they dress up in women's clothes or men's clothes, and some of them have surgery, they change the body part. And I'm thinking, and I asked my producer this morning, I'm like, if a man changes his body part or a woman change her body part, can the man have a baby? He's like, no. So even if they change body parts, right, they still a woman because they can't have children. Isn't that right? Because if a man changes his body part, he's not going to be able to have a baby, right? So he's still a man. But they're trying to make us call the man a woman. The children of the lie are trying to, when you look at the talk shows now, you look at the media, you look at this, they're saying, this is a woman, but this is not a woman. And they're trying to convince us to go along with that, be a part of it. And then there are transgender women who have changed their, I guess, their body part, but they can have a baby. So they're still a woman. Isn't that right, or just me? But I hear the children of God calling these people what they're not. And to me, that doesn't seem, that's dangerous. Because you're calling evil good and good evil. You're calling something that's not, and we are justified by our words. We are condemned by them, or we are justified by them. And whatever we say is what's going to be. We will be deceived.
If they go all the way through the procedure as well, they lose the ability to have kids. I mean, the guy would have his stuff removed.
I had a guy on my radio show, and he had asked before coming on to make sure I didn't call him he. Isn't that right, James? And so I'm like, that's going to be difficult, but let's give it a try. And so I'm looking at the guy, he looked like a guy. And I kept saying he. Because I forget that he asked me to call him a she, because I'm looking at a he. Because it's a man. But that's what the world is doing. And men, some men, most men, are going along with a lie. Let me take this on someone has a question here first, and then I'll come.
This person says, I like that, a state of non-judgmental attention. How do you do that?
I'm glad you asked. I've been doing it. Is remarkable. It's like a child unto the father. You know, when kids are little, they don't have an opinion about anything. They trust what you say. They believe you're going to take care of them. They, whatever. Until they start getting old, start talking, now they're mad and they go out of control. But they trust the Father. And God wants us, our natural state of being is to trust the Father. That's why Jesus came and made it possible for us to return to the Father so we can trust the Father. That makes sense? So this person wants to know, how do you do that? Do you want to tell him, G?
What helps me a lot is just prayer and meditate. And you know, if I'll hear some thoughts in my head, but I just don't hold on to them, and I just let them go.
That's right. That's right. So what happens is you go within and you watch what's going on. This battle going on between good and evil. You watch this thing try to convince you. Turn the TV on, not turn it on. Go here, you're just watching it. You're an awful person. You're a good person. That's an awful person. That's a good person. You're going to lose this. You're just watching it like watching a movie, and it's trying to make you hate it. But now that you've gone within, you have no hate, you have no opinion. You're going to have to return to love by forgiving first. Before you enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must forgive, because Satan lives off anger. That's his nature. Let me take Mark first. You away, Mark. That's his nature. So here's the key. You must forgive. You must forgive your parents. You must forgive your father, your mother. When you forgive them, God will forgive you. He'll allow you to enter in. He'll shine the light on what's going on. His love on you. God is love, and he will shine it on you. He will give you his mindset. And then you can see the devil tempting you to judge, to hate, to make decisions to do that, and you're able to resist it without having an opinion about it. But you must be born again, because you need the strength of your Father to guide you through this. You are a child unto the Father. So you just want to watch it, but you got to let the anger go. Yes.
I just wanted to share a phrase that G and I use together on the phone a lot when we're talking about left hand, right hand, my thoughts, but he's me, but he's not, and all this. Don't allow the devil on the property. We're like in the living room with our family, and there's a driveway over there at the edge of that stage, and he's saying, maybe just wonder, you're not allowed on this whole. You can't even come. Like, sorry, go to another house.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? And that has kept me a lot of times, because I see why, and I see people say, and then because I know it, and it's just that devil just putting his hooks in the back.
Your life. That's
and
right.
It's just they can't walk, and it's like, you let him in. You know, don't let him on the property. Once you feel God, you will know it. You will not question it. You will know it. Then you will feel a spirit. I'm not sure, fear, doubt, all this stuff. Don't allow it on the property. Keep your eye on the prize.
Yeah, that's right. Let me take Marilyn real fast here.
So,
yes,
in the gym, there's a lot of guys that turn themselves into girls, and then they're going into the girls' bathroom.
Wow.
And then, so it's kind of, I mean, we have sauna in there, and then there's girls and ladies walking around naked, but then there's guys in there that looks like girls that are walking around.
So there are guys in the bathroom at your gym?
Yes.
That's amazing.
So how do you not, like a lot of the ladies have complained about having the guys in there, and they're changing their clothes, and they feel like, like they're watching them, which that's what I feel too.
They are watching. That's why they're in there.
Yeah, I mean, and they're in the sauna naked, and like, how do you not judge that? How do you not say something? How do you not have thoughts about that?
Well, you know what I say, you know what it means not to judge, right? What does it mean not to judge?
Like, don't have an opinion about it, right?
Right, don't hate it. Have no opinion. And you can see that is wrong. So not judging it doesn't mean you accept it wrong as right. As a matter of fact, if you don't judge it, it's impossible to accept it as right.
So am I being a hypocrite if I'm smiling and talking to them? Because they're always talking to me. Because I work there. Not in the sauna.
In the sauna thing?
In the sauna.
So are you sitting there naked with them talking?
No, I'm not naked. They are. But their breast is out, and it looks way better than mine. And I'm like, wow.
But why would you even go along with it, though? I would be like...
No, because they take my class, and I feel like as working there as a instructor.
But you don't have to go in the shower, do you?
Well, I go in the sauna, and they're in the sauna, and
But
they're
you don't
talking.
have to go in the sauna.
I have to go in the sauna.
Why?
Because I love the sauna. It's, you know.
But you love it too much if you're unwilling to make a sacrifice for what is right. Because by going along with it, you are proving it. And the one thing that the children of the lie can't stand, they can't stand anyone disapproving what they're doing. So just merely not taking a sauna thing or whatever, you're saying, without any words, you're just saying, I'm not going to go through this. Don't go along with that. You don't have to have a sauna or find a day to take a sauna when they're not there. You know what I mean? And that's what the problem with the children of God, they're going along with too much.
But Jesse, they're always there. That's
right.
the thing.
Well, then make a sauna at home or something. You know, but we can't keep going along with this stuff. Because look what it's doing to the family, to the country. It's just, these people that were protesting yesterday, they're all about that kind of stuff. And they don't want any disagreement. So, since, you know, you don't own the gym, right? And I guess it's your job to train people there. Just train them and go your way. Take a shower and make a sacrifice right now. But you're going along with it by getting in there. That's crazy. You shouldn't get in there with them, knowing that this is a man. Don't love anything that much that you can't let it go. You're supposed to love God with all your heart, soul, and might, along with nothing else. Because if you love anything else, it's going to control you, and it will be your God. Yes.
I think what Marilyn may be going through is that she feels like you're telling her to be mean and judge these people. And it's the opposite.
Right.
If you love those people, you won't lie to them. If you have any respect for their lives, you know what I mean? Transgender folks have over 40% suicide rate before and after surgery. Don't support that. Yeah. You know, in 2013, it was called gender identity disorder. You know, it's been a couple years. You know what I mean? It's not something, and if we say she, he, and we play along, then yes, people will think it's okay, and they will go further and further down that road.
Because those people are suffering. They need they need God in their, they need a father. They need God in their lives. And so we need to show them love by being honest with them, but not hating them. Don't judge. Right? But don't go in the sauna with them. Are you surprised Marilyn going in the sauna though?
I'm surprised you're talking and playing with them.
That's kind of weird.
I can imagine someone going into the sauna, but you don't have to play with everybody.
But I can't imagine Marilyn going into the sauna with a man that's half man and half woman. You know, important body part. No, don't say. You have more dignity about yourself that you won't lower yourself to that standard. Or that makes sense? Marilyn?
You don't understand my job. Okay?
Yes, I do, but it doesn't make you go into the sauna.
No, yeah, but okay, even if I'm not in the sauna, if I'm in the aerobic room and the class is over and they'll come up to me and say, hey, I like this, blah, 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 blah. I can't be rude to them and not talk to them.
No, just say thank you, I appreciate that. That's all. You don't need to be rude because you go to show love. You don't hate them for what they're doing because you understand why they're caught up like this. They can't help it, right? And so if they say, I love your class, really nice class, thank you very much, I'm glad you came, But go your way. You're not validating anything by doing that. God doesn't want you to hate because we all were born into crazy families who traumatized us one form or another. We need to repent by forgiving and overcome so we can be the light of the world, the salt of the earth. So if they see you treating them the way you would treat anybody else, they see love coming through you. And maybe one day you have God open up a way for you to have a conversation with them to point the right way so they can overcome that. You don't want to be hateful to them. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Last word right here.
I would say she could even go a step further and stay out of that bathroom, locker room area. She could just go home and take a shower.
Right.
Because you would boycott the whole thing at that point.
And you can do it without making a lot of noise because this is your job, and I know you want to hold on to your job. But go there, do a very good job, your class, make them the best that anybody has, and then once you're done, go home and shower, or go to the gas station or something. You know what I mean? So let me ask, you guys are new. Am I clear as to what it means by and how not to let the left hand know what the right hand is doing? Any questions about that?
It was rather unclear until G mentioned, or until both of you guys mentioned having a non-biased thinking.
Right.
So,
you're not into judging things as right or wrong, or you're just observing without having an opinion, and then you can see what is right and what's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Have you heard me talk about every thought you get is a lie? I
have not heard that from you,
yeah,
sir.
Have you heard it on YouTube? Did you know that every thought you get is a lie?
Sometimes.
Huh?
Yeah.
And so you knew that already, right?
A little bit, but I never really looked deep into it.
Yeah. Every thought you get is a setup, is a lie. It's not the voice of God. It's the voice of your father, the devil. And so what he does, he builds you up just to let you down. He let you down to build you up. He builds you up, and then you go crazy and take medication, and it's over. But if you stand back and not listen to that voice, just let it, like watching a movie, let it come and go without having a relationship, then you can hear from the voice of God. And that voice give you life and give you love, and everything it tells you is always good and always right at all times. But as long as you listen to that voice in your head, which come from pride and ego and the nature of your father, it will end up destroying you. What do you think about that?
Maybe.
Maybe? Yeah. No, I understand it's all new, so don't worry about it. But what I want you to start doing, you guys are new, make sure you start just kind of pay attention when you're driving down the road. Instead of being lost in your head about where you're going and what you're going to do when you get there, stay in the presence of God in this very moment and just be aware of things around you. Because a lot of times we can travel from one location to another and don't remember anything along the way. Because we're in our head about what we're going to do, what we're going to say, how it's going to go. And when you're doing that, you're in darkness. God wants us to come into his presence, and he's always right here, right now, in the moment. He's not in the past. He's not in the future. He's here and now at all times. But when you're in your head, you're not with him. You're listening to the wrong God. That make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have time for a question?
Yes.
So, quick question. I know I've been trying to be more now, present focused.
Yes.
But I've always had like a, so to say, 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead.
Right.
And I'm trying to work on that more. Is there a fine line between like thinking, in the moment, in the present moment, thinking about the now, and also planning ahead? For example, planning for a trip in a week in advance, this and that.
Right.
Is there a fine
That's a
line?
good question. I have a speaking engagement coming up this week. I know when it's going to happen. I know where it's going to happen. And we planned it. But once the planning was done, we wrote it down, we don't have to think about it anymore. It's not something you need to carry around. Yeah, you should plan, figure out stuff, what time you're going to leave, where you're going to go, how long you're going to stay. But once that's done, let it go. Let that knowledge go and come back into the present.
Yes. And I'm trying to work on that. I've been reading a book, The Power of Now.
Oh, yeah?
And that seems to kind of help out, too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that book. I heard about the book, but I don't know it worked. But I have a CD that I'm going to give you guys at no cost. And it's a quiet prayer, and it shows you how to be still and just become aware of God inside of you. All right? Because I don't want you to put in the effort. Your will should not be involved in it at all. You want to let your will go and let God's will be done. And nowhere this happened for you. What did you think of it, G, on Friday?
I thought it was.
Did you watch the inauguration?
Yeah, a little bit. I thought it was cool. I think he got the best looking wife on the country.
This guy called my radio show and he was like, "Oh, Donald Trump's wife is so beautiful." Oh, I'm like, calm down, man. And he has a wife. Take it easy.
And besides that, I just like to watch the liberals cry and suffer in pain.
Did you watch the ceremony?
Yeah.
And what was it like for you watching it?
He had like some sort of energy, like a good energy.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy that the liberals are in pain.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. More than Donald Trump being president.
Right. Why are you happy that they're in pain?
Because they try to shut us up and they try to get their way every time, and they were having their way. Yeah. I'm just glad they're not going to have their way anymore.
Yeah.
And whatever they say, they can say, "Oh, he said this about Mexicans, he said that, he said that." He's still the president, so deal with it.
Mary, what did you think about it? Are you surprised Donald Trump is president?
No.
You're not surprised?
No.
And why not?
Because he's a just person.
He's just.
Yeah, he's a just person. He sees that our country needs to go back to the people.
Right. You know, I've watched this guy since he announced that he was going to run, and he was so outspoken. And we have not had that in a long time in this country. Men don't speak up to promote a candidate and things, so we're not promoting. But as you all know, Donald Trump was sworn in over the weekend, this past Friday, the 20th. And what do you think about that?
I thought it was in a way not surprising, but also it was very surprising.
Yeah. And why was it surprising?
Because if you watch the news, almost everybody hated him. Almost everybody did not support him. At least that's what you would gather by watching the news.
Yeah. And so now that he's in there, what does that mean for you?
Change your leadership.
Are you happy he's there?
I would say I'm happy.
Yeah. How about you?
You know, at first somebody told me, "Oh, have you heard what he said about Mexicans?" When they say, I say, "No, that's not what he said," because we know what the media was trying to do, trying to say that he hates them. And when you have all this protest and the media attacking him, you can tell that he's doing something that's really different. And I always say, when they get so offended, it means you hit them where it hurts. You show them truth. Yeah.
And so they tried to convince us that he hate the blacks, he hate the Mexicans, he hate the women.
Before that, I didn't really think of him. I just know him as, being the billionaire and the host of The Apprentice and all that stuff. That's all I know him for.
Right.
And then when he ran for president, it just all of a sudden just came out of nowhere.
I know, that's amazing, huh?
It is, yeah.
That is like mind-blowing.
Totally.
Out of nowhere. I wonder what that's like to grow up in life, you become a builder, and then at some point you become the president of the United States. You've never been a politician. And just out thinking, these people are not standing for anything that's good. They're nothing good. They were not promoting good at all. And this is put out there for the whole world to see. There was nothing good about them. They were just angry, men-hating, godless feminists. And they have been in charge of our country for so long. The idea that a man is in there now, it put fear in them. So watching this, I'm thinking, wow, this is so interesting. This is so good because it shows the difference between good and evil. And these people have been representing evil for the last 50 years or so. So it's going to be interesting to see the change. You went down to L.A. to one of those rallies, right? And what was it like for you?
More education, less incarceration, Black Lives Matter, pretty much all those left-wing rhetorics that they've been
Were
doing.
Black Lives Matter there too?
I don't see them.
There were people chanting Black Lives Matter.
Yes, sir.
Were there mostly women or men?
I see mostly ladies there, and I think most of these ladies that marched, I don't think they're married. Most of them are divorced.
Yeah. Those women, they hate men, and they're never going to get a husband.
Yes, that's
and
true.
the problem is, that's why they're out there, because of the hatred of their fathers and the hatred of men.
Yes, spot on.
Because if they had good fathers and good men, there's no way they would be out there promoting those kind of things.
That's true, yeah.
It's amazing how much men have failed women. You know, they let them down. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, terrible.
Were you raised by your father and mother?
Yes, sir. I mean, actually, I spend most of my time with both my parents because, you know, I'm still living with them right now for financial reasons, yeah.
Right.
Both of them still together after 30 years.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it is raining in LA, like cats and dogs. It's raining. A rainy night in LA. I feel like it rained all over the world. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad you guys showed up in the rain. That's cool. Do you know the theme of this year?
I do.
And what is it?
Do not let the left hand know what the right is doing.
And so have you been doing that?
I have.
And how's that going?
I think I'm starting to see more how much of a control freak I was and how much better life is when you just let things happen.
Yeah.
And I thought like, oh, I was good, you know, I got this, I got that. And I really didn't notice that I kind of bully some of my friends. You know, I'm like, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Right.
And it doesn't help them.
That's right.
So when I was just thinking, don't keep your eye on the prize, all love all the time, I don't think about what I'm going to say. And what I say is much better. And they feel like a friend is talking to them.
Yeah.
And it does help them. And just overall, I'm in a different place than I thought I would be. And it's awesome. You know, I really like it. It's new. And
don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that term in a long time.
And when you heard it, what did it mean to you?
Couldn't tell you right now.
Oh, okay. So I just want to ask this, just to get it off your chest, is we're not allowed, I guess, good. There are more good women speaking up than even men are today. And so as a result, the country has just been going to hell in a handbasket, because whenever you have fear, you lose out. And so I'm just amazed that a man like Donald Trump became president, because he's so outspoken, he speaks his mind, he's so independent, and it is, you know, what the country needs. We need to bring the country back, because the country is a battle between good and evil. There was a rally yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, the women rally, the feminist women rally, and they had them in New York, Washington, D.C. and L.A. and I guess some other countries or something. And I'm listening to some of it, and these women, they are an example of good versus evil. They were just complaining about not being able, they were afraid that at some point they cannot promote evil anymore. They want abortion to continue. You know, Trayvon Martin's mother, Michael Brown's mother, and some other mothers who have failed their children, and their kids were killed by cops. And instead of telling the country, we failed our children, don't do what we did, here's what their life's going to turn out, they'll call it racism, the cop is racist. So they were there yesterday fighting for whatever they want, the right to be mothers of thoughts. They also had the homosexuals there crying racist, calling, I guess, Trump racist. And they were saying he hate women, he hate men, he hate the blacks, he hate all this good stuff. And I'm